With hard rock mining, the emphasis is on hard. Crushing ore required huge machines and large amounts of horsepower. Samson answered the call with engines up to 200 horsepower. This video is the first in a series we hope to create on pioneer power in the mining industry. For all the aspects of mining required these engines to dewater, to crush ore, to pump air, to lift ore and people out of the mine shafts. Here's Dale Fye to tell us about this 50-horse, rare, twin-cylinder Samson engine.
The company, John Maynard Kroger, began Samson Ironworks in 1898, building a centrifugal pump of his own design, and he began producing gas engines about a year later. Samson Ironworks was located in Stockton, California, and from this small beginning, it soon became the largest manufacturer of engines, pumps, and tractors on the West Coast. By 1907, the company had grown, and a new brass foundry was needed, and following in 1908, another foundry was added. Samson Ironworks welcomed custom work of all sizes, and were turning out the highest grade of cast iron, crucible steel, and brass castings. This was the first facility of this kind in California. In their first year of operation, Samson Ironworks employed 20. In the second year, 30. And in the third year, payroll had grown to 40 workers. In their prime years, they boasted as many as 200 employees. They were one of the most successful manufacturing facilities in Stockton, California. In later years, they even built a line of tractors and marine engines at the Stockton location. Now a little bit about this beautiful engine. This Samson engine is a 50 horsepower twin cylinder with 11-inch bore and a 12-inch stroke. It weighs just short of 4 tons. It's igniter fired, throttle governed, gasoline burning giant. The Samson 50 was ordered from the Ironworks in Stockton in late 1908 or early 1909 and was shipped by rail to San Francisco. There it was put on a cargo ship and it made its way south to the port of San Diego. Again, it was put back on the train en route to the Golden Rule, a gold mine in Cochise County, Arizona. Here the big engine was installed and put to work on a 20-ram stamp mill located close to the mining site. Sometime later, another 10-ram stamping mill was added, making this one of the largest stamping mills in the area. It's unclear how many years the Samson powered the stamp mill. What we do know is the engine was moved to a farming community close to Elfrida, Arizona, approximately 100 miles southeast of the Golden Rule, where it ran a large irrigation pump for the cotton fields and served as backup power for a cotton gin when needed. The building that housed the Samson at the cotton farm burned at some point, leaving it exposed to the elements until the late 1980s.
You know, Dave, Jeff was saying how his dad would have loved to come to us and seen this.
Along about 36 years ago, give or take, Mr. Walt Miller was showing some of his antique gas engines at the Pima County Fairgrounds, when the owner of the cotton farm approached him and said, "I have a large engine to sell, would you like to see it?" Mr. Miller told his buddy to watch his display and followed the farmer home. Seeing the massive size of the engine, he made a deal and purchased it on the spot. He hauled it home to Apache Junction and stored the Samson there for another 30 years. Mr. Miller passed before he was able to see the Samson run. In 2017, Mr. Miller's wife and son David started looking for someone to take on the task of restoring the engine. The project was surveyed by several local experts in the field, and it was decided that Alan Sherman and crew at the Old Iron Ranch in Woodland, Washington would be the best choice for the extensive restoration. When Mr. Sherman looked over the engine, he was excited to be part of bringing it back to life again. So it was shipped from its resting spot to Sherman's, and the restoration began and finally seen through to the finish.
Okay.
The history of this engine was gathered from numerous sources: historians, newspaper clippings, historical societies, mining district museums, and some old-timers' lore. I'm sure there's more that can be obtained, but that task will be left to the next keeper of the iron.
You can go all day and then.
Even though gold was discovered in this area in 1849, it wasn't until 20 years later that production began. Why was that?
This delay is most likely due to the Indian conflicts in the area at that time. The mine's name. The rock in the mine was soft and cave-ins were a common occurrence, so the mine was dubbed the Horrible. Over the years, the mine changed hands several times, and it was later called the Golden Eagle, and then the Santa Lucia, and then finally the Golden Rule Mine, and it holds this name to date. The Samson 50 horsepower engine is available for preview and for your consideration. It can be seen at the 2023 Allman Auctions Pre-30 Sale Preview, March 24th and 25th in Nokomis, Illinois. The Iron Ranch crew will be there in attendance to run and show the engine, and then it will be offered to the highest bidder and best bidder online, with the auction closing April 21st, 2023.
There you go. There she goes.
Dale, I heard there were problems with the carburetor and the governor. How did you get that stuff repaired?
Well, the carburetor was originally with the engine when Walt found it, and somewhere in the 30 years that he had it, it got misplaced. It got put up to be safe, and anyway, it couldn't be located when Alan Sherman started in on it. So they had a new one had to be created, and so the boys there at the Iron Ranch borrowed a carburetor off of a smaller engine. So they used modern technology to repair old machinery. They used a 3D printer to create a enlarged version of the carburetor they borrowed, and then with that they made a pattern and a core box, had it cast in brass and machined, and that took several attempts to make that work.
So it was a good mix of modern technology to fix old technology. I like that. What about the governor?
Well, they started out with the same way with the governor, with some CAD printings, and then they determined that the smaller engines used the exact same governor. So a governor from a smaller engine was borrowed, and it was sent to a foundry and recast in cast iron, machined, and new beveled gears made for it, and it turned out great.
So much amazing work was done to this engine, we could go on for hours, but we're going to stop right here. We'll have more in the future. Stand by. Watch for related content coming soon from Matt the Scrap Whisperer's channel on YouTube.